Hey guys, we're just gonna give it a couple minutes and then we'll go ahead and get started. What's going on, Brian? What's going on, Eric? Good to see you guys here. That boy, Adrian. A lot of familiar faces. Good to see you guys here. Hope you're having a great weekend. It's going to be a good stream today, guys. I know we didn't have one this week, so I figured Saturday, let's at least get one going. So I'm going to go over a lot of good stuff. Going to go over what's happened the past few days, past week, and where I think we're going from here. So it's going to be a great stream, guys. Looking forward to it. Lorenzo, what's going on? Pedram, Luca. Awesome guys here. Appreciate it. What's going on, Claudio? Good to see you. Pollo Loco, Sean, AB. A lot of good people here. What's going on, Andres, Hyper, Tez, Bromes, Mirza, Hawk. A lot of the usual crowd here. Good to see you guys. Face the music. What's going on? Gonna get another minute. We'll get everyone a chance to get in here, and then we will get started. What's going on, Dreamer? Good to see you guys. Dreamer says, Drickus, Kazmat, who's winning? Ooh, good question. To be honest, oh no, it's pretty close one. What's going on, Demo? Jerome, good to see you guys. Rafa, how's it going? Ooh, that's an interesting name. Shigofatso. New here. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, man? Good to have you here. James, what's going on? I've been good. Appreciate it. James is saying Kazmat for the fight. Interesting. Yeah, I think Kazmat's going to have it. 100%. All right, what's going on, Wagwan? Good to see you. All right. Let's go ahead and get this started. 40 viewers in here, 7 likes. We'll get some likes on here, guys. Spread this channel to the masses. Trying to provide you guys the best crypto content I can. Really appreciate it. And again, really appreciate all you guys watching today. Hope you're having a great weekend. So, with that said, let's go ahead and look at the liquidation data. So right now, the past 24 hours liquidations, 117 million, split pretty evenly between longs and shorts. You know, we did have that large flush a couple days ago, dead cat bounce, further bleeding, and then we had a slight bounce today. So my opinion, we'll just continue to chop. It's going to be around 50-50 as far as if we're going to have another pump or not going into next week. We're going to go over some catalysts and things that I'm looking at as well. But again, I mean, we were pretty euphoric over the past few weeks, so just a cool-off period is definitely understandable. Now, looking at the liquidation heat map. So the past 24 hours liquidation for Bitcoin. You can see here we had a little drop just recently. So that big liquidation level is 116.4K, and then to the upside, it's about 119K. So keep an eye on that. I do suspect probably going to tag this 116.5K level first before potentially bouncing. But you can see on the right side, all that volume there, right? All that liquidity at that 116.5K level. And then the big level after that, you can see is 119K. So most likely going to tag to the downside before resuming back to the upside. Now, if we can look at the 1 week, let's see. So the 1 week, you can see there's not too much. I mean, you can still see there's some liquidity here at 116.6K. So again, most likely tag that liquidity, and then up here near 120K, 119K, there's a lot more to the upside. So definitely looking for that later today. But first, we got to tag this lower side. Next, let's go ahead and look at some news items. So first, if you guys aren't following me at the CryptoData on X, definitely do so. I post a lot of good content, a lot of good motivational quotes. So definitely follow me on here, guys. If you aren't, try to post the best content I can. Now, let's go ahead and go to Watch Your Guru and see what has happened the past week. So lots been happening over the past week. We'll go to about August 10th. Don't want to go too far back, but some main things that have happened. Again, we had President Trump saying the tariffs are making the U.S. strong and rich. And then we also had Trump officially extending China's tariff deadline by 90 days. So this is something that's interesting because, again, this is going to help really create some runway for a further run. And then as we get closer, we'll have to keep a closer eye on this tariff deadline. So keep an eye on that. But Metaplanet continues to buy. We had the CPI numbers for the U.S. inflation at 2.7%. This is what initially caused the market to pump a few days ago because with the CPI numbers at that low percentage, basically guarantees that the Fed is going to cut rates. But I'll show you a couple other numbers afterwards. Trump was saying he's considering a major lawsuit against Powell. So again, that was 4 days ago. It'd be very interesting to see what happens with that. And then Treasury Secretary Bessent says the Fed should think about a 50 basis point cut in September. So this is something interesting to watch as well because obviously the Fed is having a lot of pressure, not only from Trump, but from the Treasury Secretary. There's around a 70% chance of a 25 basis point cut and then a 4% chance of a 50 basis point cut. So it's about 74% chance that the Fed is going to cut rates right now via poly market, which that percentage lowered. It used to be above 80%, and we'll talk about why that lowered. But they're still trying to have trade talks in multiple countries. India wasn't being cooperative, so we'll see if they're coming back to the table. You have Standard Chartered Bank raising its 2025 year-end Ethereum price target to 7,500. So keep an eye on that. Then you also have Bessent saying he's pushing for a ban on single stock trading in Congress. Nancy Pelosi is obviously an insider trader. And it's funny that she's lasted this long. It's really impressive, actually. She's lasted this long when everyone knows. I think because obviously everyone is doing it, so they're kind of just, putting it aside. Nonetheless, though, definitely something to watch. And then also you have Michael Saylor's strategy Bitcoin holdings reach an all-time high of 77.2 billion. That is insane to see. Then also you have former Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan executive indicted for gambling away $4 million in investor funds for his online casino company. Guys, you can't make this up. This is actually, it's sad, but it's kind of funny. You have a guy who's, has all these investor funds, and he's just having his own casino company trying to bet it and, I guess, double it, right? But that did not work out. So, guys, don't gamble. Don't gamble. At least with crypto, you have somewhat of a chance. Then you have President Nayib Bukele of El Salvador's Bitcoin reserve showing 470 million in unrealized profits. This guy is a G. He bought Bitcoin, was around, I believe, 47,000. Everyone was telling him it's too high, but he didn't listen, and now he's reaping the rewards of that, so congrats to him. Then also, it's always fun to compare Bitcoin's market cap to some of these top Web 2 companies. Bitcoin surpasses Google to become the 5th largest asset in the world by market cap. Just imagine whenever Bitcoin actually becomes the #1 asset. That's going to be a day. Now, speaking of the Fed funds, or the interest rate cuts and the likelihood and why it changed from 80% down to 74%. So the U.S. PPI rose to 3.3%, which was higher than expectations. This was 2 days ago. And it's actually caused a little sell-off in the market because with that PPI number rising, well, now there's a chance of if you lower interest rates, it could raise inflation. It could have some, second and third order effects. So it's kind of sensitive right now, depending what's going to happen with that. But we'll have to see because the Fed does have that Jackson Hole meeting on August 21st through the 23rd, which will tell us the Fed's outlook for next month and the following month. So keep an eye on that. But that was kind of the seesaw action that we saw this past week. But then also we have the SEC Chair Paul Atkins discussing Project Crypto. So he discussed that yesterday, and I'll have to see exactly what he said, but they're still very, very much focused on that Project Crypto, which they announced at the end of July. And so whatever that entails, obviously it's going to entail passing some bills, right? We have the Genius Act signed into law July 18th, and then the Clarity Act is expected by the end of September. So keep an eye on both of those. Also, we had Citigroup looks to add payment services and custody for crypto stablecoins. And so with that Genius Act signed into law, anytime you talk about stablecoins, it's bullish for Ethereum because the stablecoins, USDC, USDT, are transacted on the Ethereum network. And when you need to transact those, obviously use Ethereum for gas, becomes deflationary via the EIP 1559 mechanism. And then supply-demand shock. So, supply goes down, demand goes up, and the price rises afterwards. So, yeah, I mean, that's why you're seeing also Aave, CRV, all those other restaking narratives. Those are definitely going to come into play later down the line. So keep an eye on that. And then also you have Treasury Secretary Bessent saying the U.S. government is exploring ways to acquire more Bitcoin to expand the reserve. So this was kind of funny because whenever he initially was on Fox News interview just the other day, he said the government is not looking to buy more Bitcoin or acquire it. They're just looking to hold what they confiscated. And then the market dropped from that comment. And then literally an hour later, he posted that the government is exploring ways to acquire more Bitcoin to expand the reserve. So this was always their end goal, right? To acquire more Bitcoin. And this has been something that we've talked about for the past 6-7 months, especially Bo Hines, the previous director for the, crypto digital team for the Trump administration. Unfortunately, he resigned just a few days ago, but he was saying how the government's consistently looking for ways to accumulate more Bitcoin via delta neutral strategy from tariff savings, gold certificates, etc. But just know that this will come to play in the next few months, and that's going to be a huge catalyst for us. So good to see at least the Treasury Secretary readjusted his comments and said that they are still looking to acquire more Bitcoin. So that is a good catalyst down the line. Then also you have Jerome Powell to give speech next week on the Fed's policy framework. So I'm assuming this is going to be at the Jackson Hole meeting, August 21st through the 23rd. So we'll have to see what happens with that. And I will answer your questions, guys. Just let me go through the rest of these, and then I'll answer your questions. 61 people here, 26 likes. If we can get some extra likes on the stream, that'd be awesome, guys. Really, really appreciate it. Now, also we have Trump saying China is not doing well economically. This is something that's interesting because that's going to say or allude to the fact that China is going to come to the table for trade talks, right? Because China's more in a vulnerable position right now. If any of you guys are actually staying in China, let me know if this is the truth data, if China's economy is in the hole. Because from what I've seen from pictures and everything, China isn't looking the best. A lot of their warehouses are backed up with product, and they're the housing data and everything is not too good. So definitely let me know if any of you guys are in China. Would love to get an inside take on that. And then the SEC Chair Paul Atkins says all divisions are mobilizing to make America the crypto capital of the world. Guys, this was just yesterday. They have the SEC Chair saying that. Extremely bullish. And I think people get so caught up in the day-to-day price action that it's easy for them to become bearish again. And I can get it, right? You have a couple days of flushing or negative price action, and it gets to you. And then you kind of snap out of that euphoric phase, and you're like, okay, I actually need to remember to take profits, etc., right? So it's just going to be maybe another couple days, week, before we actually see some upward price action again. But I think that, again, once you have so many catalysts in a row, kind of have that blow off top, reset the whole market phase of accumulation, markup, distribution, markdown, and then accumulation again. So we're kind of in that markdown/accumulation phase again before the next mark up. So just be patient with that. And also you have Federal Reserve ending the program that increased bank scrutiny of crypto. So they're still working to help regulation be pro-crypto, especially any bad actors that are being very scrutinous of it. So that's great to see, and something that I love to see whenever you have the Fed Reserve actually helping crypto, especially with laws or banks or institutions that are against it. Then also you have Michael Saylor saying the road is now clear for Bitcoin and banking. So now you're just going to have Bitcoin continue to be adopted from banks and others, right? It's going to be great to see. Then also Grayscale files S1 for Dogecoin ETF. So keep an eye on this, guys. Remember, all these ETFs now, I was talking about it yesterday in my voice note, all these ETFs are going to come into play. And you're going to see that catalyst. First with the Solana ETF, right? Heck, we may even see the Ethereum staking ETF get approved beforehand because BlackRock applied for that. But nonetheless, Solana ETF may get approved by the end of the year. You also have the Dogecoin ETF. I believe Link may have had an ETF, and then Litecoin and a few other alts. So definitely good to see on there and helping to increase adoption. Now, besides that, you also had Trump meeting with Putin, which is another thing I talked about in my voice note yesterday. But Trump had a very good relationship with Putin. You can just see, how happy they are here, right? Like, they're actually really good friends. It's just on the mainstream media, it likes to portray them as enemies. But if you can get along with Russia, why wouldn't you? So after their 3-hour meeting, Putin's special envoy, Kirill Dmitriev, says talks between the two presidents were excellent. So it shows these guys are getting along, right? They don't want to fight. They just want to form a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. And so now I believe it's only a matter of time. You just have to get Vladimir Zelensky to actually come to the table and agree to the terms, and then from there the war can end. So it's only a matter of time with that, but it was great to see at least these two had a very productive conversation, which was another reason for the slight bounce that we had yesterday as well. So great to see on there, and it's always good to see when presidents from other countries can get along. So kudos to them. Now, with that said, let's go ahead and check the comments here. So let's see what we got. All right. Brome said, how are you doing? Hey, I'm doing great, Bromes. Appreciate it. Hack, love this voice whenever we get the voice notes with a lot of data. Appreciate it, Hack. I try to give you guys the best data I can. James says, do you think both Tron and Doge can reach $1 if alts become really bullish? I do think so, James. I do think so. And I think that this cycle we still have until May of next year. And so we still have a ways to go, May of 2026. And so I mean, there's going to be volatility. Obviously, alts really haven't had their run. Like, a lot of alts have been stagnant. Well, ETH has been running, Bitcoin's been running, even Solana's been running, hype, right? You have a few alts that are still outperforming, but when we're talking about a majority of alts in a true quote-unquote alt season, which I don't think we'll have a true alt season. I think we'll have the top 100 alts, top 15, 20 alts really running, right? But I don't know if we'll get that true alt season because there's such a large dilution of capital with all the different altcoins in circulation. But nonetheless, yes, I do believe Tron and Doge can definitely reach $1 if alts become really bullish. Team Story, good to see you here. AB, ETH strong. Can we revisit 4.8K soon? Volume on BTC. You know, I agree that the market needs a flush, but I don't think we'll go to 80K. I'm thinking maybe 108 to 110K is more realistic, you know, where we have major resistance turn support. So that's the area I would be looking for if we did have a flush. But, I mean, heck, if we do go to 80K, definitely turn people bearish again. AB, do you still believe in altcoin run later this month or start of September? So it depends, right? Because with the Fed and the likelihood that they're going to cut rates being lower, I think it's around 70%, like I was mentioning. It's hard to say, right? Because that is the scenario, or that is the event that people were front running. And now with the PPI numbers coming out, conflicting with the CPI, and so people aren't 100% sure. I mean, once we have some data that's going to increase the chance that the Fed's going to cut rates, I think people will then start front running again. So in my opinion, people are probably de-risking until the Jackson Hole meeting. They're waiting to see what Jerome Powell says August 21st through the 23rd. And then once he has that confirmed, you know, comment and prediction and forecast for next month, then we may see a front run afterwards. And so it's very possible after August 23rd, we could see another run. Until then, we may have some chop. Top Hustle says, will the paid group be out this week? So Top Hustle, I'll be completely transparent with you guys about the paid group. And thank you for asking, by the way. So I've been getting, you know, again, the business, the back end stuff situated. And I just filed some stuff for a company. And now that they said the soonest, I haven't did expedited with as far as the filings, the soonest they could have that finished is August 20th. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that, if it gets, you know, finished sooner or not. But as far as getting the payment processors and everything set up on the back end, I got to have this business stuff done first. And so, yeah, I wanted to have the paid group ready like today or tomorrow, right? But that's probably not going to happen. So, yeah, it's unfortunate to say the least. But again, guys, I'm not giving up as far as like getting the content ready. I'm still getting the content ready. I'm still fine tuning the group. Like, it's going to be an amazing group. I 100% guarantee it's going to be the best crypto group, period. Like, you guys are going to be very impressed with it. I promise you. So stay tuned. I'm going to announce it in the Telegram. That's where you're going to first see it. And then from there, I'll keep making videos about it. I'll really, I mean, there's going to be 3 to 5 live streams in there, emergency meetings, more meme coin calls, altcoin calls, leverage calls. There's going to be course videos. There's going to be PDF documents. There's going to be, guys, I'm going to have everything in that paid group, and it will be affordable for everyone. So it's not like, you know, it's going to be super high ticket. So I'm going to even have chance for one-on-ones with you guys. If any of you guys want to do one-on-ones with me for like an hour or two, I'm going to have a section for that for people. If you want to pay for that, you can do so as well. So again, there's going to be a lot of stuff in there, guys. If you have any recommendations, what else you want me to provide in the paid group, let me know, because I'm getting everything ready on the back end. I'm getting a team ready. I'm getting everything. So it's going to be amazing, and I cannot wait. Thanks for the question. Bill, when will altcoin season be in full force? see, I want to say mid-October, but here's the thing. So if any of you guys aren't following Benjamin Cohen into Cryptoverse, please do so. The guy is one of the best in the crypto space, period. He does analysis better than I do. Like, this guy is second to none. Follow him into Cryptoverse. I'm actually going to link his channel in the chat for you guys. Let me actually link it in the chat so you guys can see it. Definitely give him a follow. Into Cryptoverse, one of the best guys. But anyway, he was saying that the alt pairs, I believe, are going to bottom August 23rd. And so let's see if that comes to fruition, because then alt season could start then, and we could front run the interest rate cuts, right? Then we could really get start. Because I think alt season is going to start once we cut interest rates, because then QT is going to end, and then from there we're really going to start to see the money printer turn on and everything else just go to the moon, right? So yeah, that's what I see, Billy, in my opinion. But Benjamin Cohen into Cryptoverse, follow him if you aren't. And then also, again, if you aren't following me at the CryptoData, definitely do so. I'll provide you guys the best content I can. And also, again, the paid group, Telegram group, is in the pinned comments if anyone watching is not in there. But yeah, description, you have the paid group. Also, I recommend everyone use BloFin if you aren't. It's the best leverage trading exchange, period. Non-KYC. So that's in the description as well. You also get a USDT bonus for depositing into your futures account. So definitely do that if you haven't. And then also the Sigma bot is in the description. Is the best ETH, Base, AVAX, and soon Solana trading bot around. The best security and team. Now, let's get on to the next question. Let's see. All right, James Hunt. JP Morgan is so corrupt. JP Morgan's interesting. And actually, James, I mean, I'll talk about this real quick, is JP Morgan, I'm actually going to start using them as my bank soon, because they're really good. If, say, you have a good credit score and you want to run a lot of money through them, JP Morgan's actually the bank to use. And they have, especially if you're keeping over 150K with them, you get some private client services and everything. So yeah, there's it's the bank for high net worth clients, and they do have a lot of shady things. So it's very interesting, right? Billy says 200 days left in the cycle. Exactly. Touch, alt season begins when BTC retests major support 75K. Touch is going for that super bearish target. Interesting. M, when looking at CoinGlass, should you look at exchange with the most volume, such as Binance, as we trade on BloFin? So I look at Binance because I want to see where the big whales are. And that's why I'm looking at the most volume on such as Binance, right? So when I look at CoinGlass, the liquidation heat map, I'm looking at the Binance USDT pairs. So keep that in mind. Cheap says, hello, sir. First time joining. Nice to meet you. Hope you have a good journey. Hey, Cheap. Appreciate you. If you have any questions, definitely ask them. And then also, if you haven't joined my free Telegram, in the description below. And also have my BloFin link for the best non-KYC leverage trading exchange, and the Sigma bot, which is the best multi-chain trading bot you can use. The fastest and most secure. Claudio, how do you feel about Doge Grayscale ETF? Would it be a good idea to invest in Doge beta plays like maybe Nero or BART? You know, yeah, I've had some people actually invest in some Doge beta plays because of that Doge ETF. That may not be a bad play, but we'll have to see, because a lot of these ETFs are delayed. Who knows how long, months or even a year, right? So it's going to be a little time. Now, I want to say if there was inclination that the Doge ETF was about to get approved, then yes, you know, you could definitely buy those and run that, or just play the long game, buy them and then wait. So either way, but yeah, just know that the ETF is probably going to take at least 3 to 6 months before it's approved. AB, can we take a look at Bitcoin USDT dominance? Yeah, I'll actually look at those after the rest of the stream, but I just want to make sure I can answer a few questions for you guys before then. Mirza, how exactly do the ETF inflows, outflows help us determine if an asset is going to be bullish or bearish? Yeah, so for ETF flows, basically what that means is when you have institutions investing a lot, then they're bullish on an asset. Just like with ETH ETF flows, it actually surpassed Bitcoin's ETF flows. And when that actually happened for the first time, I believe ETH was at 3,200, 3,500 plus or minus. And then you really started to see ETH take off, right? It may have been below 3,000 actually, but that's when you start to see, because you start to see the interest of where that big money is going, right? The big institutions. So that's why ETF inflows help us. Also, for ETF inflows, if you have a large amount of inflows, like $1 billion, that's usually marking the local top within 1 to 3 days. For Ethereum, it was 3 days that it marked the local top. Same with Bitcoin, right? But if you have large outflows, let's say negative 800 million, then that could mark the local bottom within negative, 1 to 3 days. So you got to look for those outliers as well. So ETF flows actually have some good telegraphing and forecasting if you're able to read between the lines. Brome says, what do you think of Pepe? Pepe was okay. It's not the beta play it used to be, honestly. Like, Pepe was good, but at the end of the day, when ETH is going, Pepe doesn't run as much as I thought it would. Not like it used to. Pollo Loco, do you like meme coins still? I did, but it started dropping, and it seems like the support just wasn't there. Like, people rotate between altcoins so quickly nowadays. Guys, we're in a rotation-heavy market, so that's why I always say take profits along the way. Thankfully, that Awoke coin that we got into at 5.3 mil, I mean, that went up to 7, 7.5. Now it's around 6. So we're still in profit on that one. But like I said, I mean, anytime you have a lot of chop, high-risk plays are the first to sell off, like meme coins. Lorenzo, just wondering, does anyone know what is the minimum amount of funds I need to have on BloFin to start trading? Because I know that with $10, for example, it doesn't let you. Lorenzo, I'm actually not sure of the minimum. That's an interesting question. Maybe $20 if I had to guess. I would experiment with that. But obviously only trade with what you can afford to lose. So if all you have is $10 right now, like, just save that up, right? Don't feel like you have to trade on leverage. But once you have the minimum amount, then you can trade on there. So yeah, I would just try to deposit and then see in the rules and the FAQs, or just ask Google or ChatGPT and see what it says on there. But yeah, that's an interesting question though. But yeah, like if like I said, guys, if you guys want to trade on BloFin, the best non-KYC leverage trading exchange, in the description, that's where I have my referral link, which will let you get a USDT bonus up to 20%, up to $2,000 if you deposit USDT into your futures account after you sign up. So I also have that campaign going on month to month as well. So if you haven't deposited yet. Mr. Robinson, what's good, Data? Hope your day's going well, brother. Mr. Robinson, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Again, an old face there. Eric, hey, Data, did you hear about BlackRock possibly filing for HBAR ETF this Monday? Actually, I didn't, Eric. That's a good point. HBAR is a great cryptocurrency. One, because it's U.S.-based, and so if Trump announces no taxes on U.S.-based cryptocurrencies, or no capital gains tax, then that actually could be a good bet. And it actually did pump earlier in the year once there was teasings of that. But yeah, HBAR is a great token. So thanks for the heads up, though. Rafa, what are the best coins for this Q4? I would say Ethereum, Solana, Hype, and maybe Sui could be one. And then there's rumblings about the Ton ecosystem, right? So Ton may get some traction again. I know Luke's really big on Ton. I know Maritz is really big on Ton. So we may see Ton actually, gain some traction, but we'll have to see. M says, also, as you said in your Telegram channel, is 4 resources enough to get the best data to place a trade after doing technical analysis? Yeah, M. So the 4 resources I talk about the RSI, the stock RSI, the 50 EMA, and the 200 EMA, and then your standard support and resistance levels. Technically, that's enough, right? Especially if your indicators are oversold and you're at major support on the daily or weekly time frames. Yeah, you can even incorporate trend lines into that. Now, if you want to up that even more, you look at ETF flows, look at liquidation heat map, and you can look at liquidation data as well. Like, if there's over $1 billion of liquidations, okay, we're near a bottom, right? Like, you can look at all of that. And obviously, sentiment is a good one, the fear and greed index, Coinbase app rank, and a few others as well. So, but I mean, that should be the gist of it. You should be able to form a proper valid thesis. And then last but not least, the fundamental analysis of, let's say, an interest rate cut in the coming future, creating its own catalyst, right? Or the ETH staking ETF getting approved. That's a huge catalyst. Like, fundamentals apply just as much as technicals. It's 50-50. So yeah, those resources are enough, but you can always layer on and even help to form a proper thesis as well. Hey, no problem, Touch. Thank you. Jessica, are you DCAing right now since it's low? I'm actually just flat right now. I'm technically not DCAing. I'm waiting for indicators to reset, because if you look at the daily time frame for the stock RSI and RSI on most tokens, it's overbought, or it's just under the overbought territory. So I'm waiting for us to reset a little bit more. And that's what you'll find out, guys, is during these runs, the stock RSI and the RSI get way overbought on the daily and weekly time frames, and we need some time to let those reset to then gain momentum again to go back to the upside, because it's all based on high frequency trading algorithms, and they're not going to be trading for longs if indicators are close to overbought. Elvin, always thankful, brother. Hey, appreciate you, Elvin. Wagman says, why do you think May 2026? Really, it's just a reason that interest rate cuts have taken so long. I mean, we're expecting them earlier in the year. We're expecting them by July. They still didn't happen. So now this cycle, in my opinion, has pushed back because alt season is not starting until interest rates get cut, quantitative tightening ends, quantitative easing starts, etc. So with that said, I mean, usually the 4-year cycle ends in October. Like if you guys are playing it by the book, you would sell in October, like mid to end of October. But I still believe that with the catalyst that we have coming up, like the accumulation plan for the SBR, ETH staking ETF, interest rate cuts, quantitative easing, ending of these wars, I mean, I feel that October to December, like, yes, it's going to be a good run, but it may not be the last one. Like, I still feel like there's a lot of adoption to be had. So, again, if you want to play it safe, sell 33% of your stack in October, sell 33% by the end of December, and then sell another 33% by April, May. That would be the safest bet because no one can time the top. We may top out this year, right? But I'm just looking at it as how long we've pushed back for an interest rate cut, and then also the catalyst that we still have and what that means for the rest of the world, and the introduction of crypto to retirement accounts, a $12 trillion industry, and also these banks adopting it, stable coins being bullish for ETH, right? There's still a lot of catalysts. So that's what I base it off of, is how many catalysts do we have for the future? Have we played out everything? Because crypto is all based on hype, guys. Like if you don't have any hype or you don't have any catalyst, you're really not going to pump at the end of the day. You have to have something that's forward-looking, something that you can plan for, and something that people can look for to cause that hype, to have that attention. AB, when will AI become relevant again? That's a great question, AB. I've been waiting for the AI narrative to come back with OpenAI, GPT-5, with Grok 4 and Super Grok. Like, we've had all these major AI developments, yet AI is just stagnant now. And I think people have become numb to it, right? I think even if you have the craziest AI development, like it's just probably quantum is going to be the next one. I mean, quantum is like the next elevation after AI, right? So that's what I would say with that. But we'll have to see. I still think an AI run is going to happen. And if it does, you better capitalize on it because AI coins pump the hardest. Jessica, on trading account, not spots or both. Let's see. Oh, yeah. As far as that, no. I mean, I would maybe, if you're doing spot, I would DCA Ethereum around 4K if you get the chance. Corpus says, sound gone. Yeah, not working. Tried leaving and coming back. There was a cut in the live. Okay. Hopefully the sound's good again. Does it sound good, guys? Does it sound good? Can you still hear me? Okay, perfect. So, basically, if you're going to buy ETH on spot, 4K. But with that, let me go back and finish the rest of the stream real quick, and then I'll answer some more questions. So, looking at the SPX gold, oil, and the DXY. So right now we're seeing the S&P still climbing. I mean, 64.49. It's just been making all-time highs after all-time highs. This is amazing to see. And I mean, the question becomes, right? When is that capital going to rotate from the S&P over to crypto? And everyone's asking that question because obviously they've been running in tandem to a point, but the S&P has been much stronger than crypto. So it's only a matter of time before we see some of that capital flow into crypto. And I think retirement account holdings is going to be a big one as far as when they start adopting Bitcoin and Ethereum into their retirement accounts. So we'll start to see that trickle over as well. But yeah, I believe we're still going to see that rotation over to crypto. But as far as the S&P is concerned, I mean, it's 65 on the RSI on the weekly, still has room to run. Like if you're going to buy, 62.20 is a good support, and then 6,100 and 6,000 after that. Now gold, on the other hand, you can see it's going to the downside. And this is good for us in a sense that gold is used as a hedge against inflation, a hedge against uncertainty. So when it's declining, it means people are getting more risk off and getting more risk on so they can invest in other riskier assets like stocks or like cryptocurrency, right? So that's good, at least for us. You can see the RSI rejected off the signal line. So very bearish for gold, bullish for us. And then you have oil futures, 63, crossing below signal line, still good for us there. And then the DXY broke through its support and is continuing downward. So DXY is inversely correlated to Bitcoin. So when the dollar weakens, Bitcoin gets stronger. So it's good to see at least continuing to decline here. Should give Bitcoin some room to run in the near future. So good to see on there. And then also, let's look at the overview of the market. So we have, let's see, Bitcoin's at 117.7K. Bitcoin or Ethereum's at $4,444. You have some of the top gainers. Mantle is at 15%. Story IP is up 2%. Mantle has actually been doing crazy recently. And that's what I mean is some of these coins, they just start pumping, right? Some of these older coins. And so you have to keep an eye on those because I believe the rotation is happening. We had Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then now from Ethereum transferring over to some of the lower cap alts. So yeah, alt season could definitely be close here. And then you have Athena still doing good. Again, for stable coins, Ethereum, very bullish for Athena. So good to see on there. We're still having some coins bounce. And then Ton, up 0.4% near that 350 level. So like I said, it's only a matter of time before we start seeing Ton pump. So keep an eye on that. And then Pudgy Penguins up 2.9%. Good to see the Pudgies. I'm still bullish on Pudgies, especially if you can get it near 3 cents. A great level there. Next, let's look at the on-chain flows. Now, this is for the different networks, right? If Ethereum's going to be more bullish, Solana network is going to be more bullish, the base chain, I mean, it just depends, right? So what we're seeing today, Ethereum's negative 2.35%. So TVL, total value locked, is going off the chain. Solana, negative 1.33%. Base, 1.34%. But Hyperliquid, look at that, 2.93%. Hyperliquid is still staying strong. Sui, plus 0.86%. Keep an eye on Sui. And then Avalanche, 2.42%. So keep an eye on these guys. We definitely could see some more traction with these. But nonetheless, if you look at the monthly data, Ethereum's still leading the way, 20% versus last month. Sol, 10% TVL versus last month. And then Base is 18%. Base is gaining a lot of traction. There's a coin called Backdoor on Base, and I believe it's around 11 mil right now. It's like the FinTech of Base. So it's gaining a lot of traction. Keep an eye on that. Arbitrum doing good. So a lot of L2s, right? ETH L2s outperforming, which is great to see. Next, you have the Fear and Greed Index for coin market cap. So currently, the Fear and Greed Index was around 60. Now it's at 57, neutral. Good to see. Again, the more we hover around neutral, the more that we're coiling up for another run once we get into that greed area. So keep an eye on that. Still bullish with the sentiment. Still looks good. Again, neutral is neither bullish nor bearish, but it gives us that runway to go a lot higher once we get back into greed. Next, let's go ahead and look at the seasonality. So seasonality is something I like to keep an eye on because history doesn't repeat, but it does often rhyme. So when you're looking at this month, August, it's historically been bullish in 2013, 17, 2020, and 2021. I don't believe this month is going to be any different. I think that we're still going to be green this month, especially as we get closer to the end of the month and people start to front run those interest rate cuts. So keep an eye on that. But if we played seasonality, then I would just be cautious of September because then we may see some red, right? So I'm still expecting September to be red. I think a lot of people are. So maybe there's some de-risking ahead of that. So keep an eye on that. And the next, let's look at the ETF flows. So I talked about these in my voice note yesterday, but like I said on Friday, negative 14 million of ETF flows for Bitcoin. And then for Ethereum, we had negative 60 million. So not the best look for Ethereum as it was outperforming Bitcoin for the longest time. We'll have to see though, right? We'll have to see Monday if institutions start buying Ethereum again. I do still think Ethereum is going to outperform Bitcoin. I think now it is most advantageous for you to denominate in Ethereum versus denominating in sats on Bitcoin, okay? So I think that still Ethereum is the play here. I still think there's a lot of room to run, but at the end of the day, you always need to manage risk accordingly. But like I said, we'll have to watch on Monday for the ETF flows and if they start to outperform again. Now, let's go over some of the charts and then I'll answer some questions. So for Bitcoin, right now, it's at 117.4K. I also mentioned in my stream, I said, and market update, I said we need to hold this 116.8K level because you can see on the daily, it was in this range. It closed below it. We crashed. It closed above it, hovered, and then went back to the upside. Now, the big thing is it going to stay above it again, right? Is this going to be good support? If you're playing the support resistance bounce strategy, then 116.8K is a good level to enter. And then you could DCA down to 115.6K. As you can see, it was acting as resistance turn support once we crossed above it. So 115.6K, which also coincides with this trend line, right? If we expand this chart, you can see this trend line here. We have bounced off of it multiple times. And so, in my opinion, this is a good level to watch and a good support near there. So if we come back down, 114.8 to 115.6 be a very good long level, guys. Keep an eye on that. Now, looking at the RSI and stock RSI. So see what I mean about the stock RSI being overbought and still curving to the downside on the daily chart. And then you have the RSI actually resetting near 50, looking like potentially it wants to look to cross to the upside again. But we'll have to see what happens with that. So stock RSI is almost reset near 50, which is great to see. Very, very healthy. So again, we may chop a little bit in the weekend and then pump on Monday or Tuesday. So watching that closely for Bitcoin. Major resistance is going to be that 120K level. Remember, we have liquidity near 119 to 120K. So something to keep in mind there. And then finally, all-time highs near 123.5K. Now, Ethereum. So Ethereum is still hovering around that 4,400 level. So let's go ahead and check that out. Let me go ahead and let's see. Okay, so Ethereum's at 4,430 right now. Okay. So let's see. So for here, just like with Bitcoin, the stock RSI was overbought, now curved to the downside. The only thing I don't like here is the RSI is below its signal line, technically, right? So hopefully we can curve back above this before the daily close in an hour and a half, but if not, then it may cause some short-term bearish momentum. But I would still be looking to bid near 4,300, and then after that, 4,000. So still good areas to bid. Remember that we did have that weekly resistance. Remember here, but we crossed over it, so now it's technically support. So if Ethereum does come down, could retest this as support near around 3,860. May not be a bad level to bid as well. So you can see a lot of areas to bid, but on the weekly, I mean, the RSI and stock RSI are still very much overbought. If the stock RSI crosses back to the upside here, it'll be very bullish and cause Ethereum to have another leg up because, I mean, just like in the past, the stock RSI, look, see, it's been overbought. It actually crossed the downside, but just chopped and then just sent again, right? So we'll have to see what happens with that. Next, resistance would be near that 4,650 level. Even 4,800 is where we had the previous all-time highs. But nonetheless, I mean, 4,650 is still a major level to watch. So 4,700. So keep that in mind. Next, looking at Solana. So I mentioned Solana may have start to outperform in the near future. 189 right now. Solana is looking very good, actually. So the stock RSI is still resetting on the daily, like I mentioned. But one thing that is positive or bullish is the RSI is bouncing off the signal line. So good to see here. You can see it's bouncing off support. So Solana does look good. If you got in near 184, 185, like I was mentioning earlier, you'd be sitting very, very nice right now in Solana. Looking for it to at least retest 200 now, as we did close above this on the daily. So, you know, technically still bullish. Now, something else I mentioned in my voice note as well is we want to see this close above 190 on the weekly, which would be tomorrow at midnight UTC. Because this major resistance here near 188, 189, I mean, that could technically be a double top if we don't close above it. So that's why I'm watching. The stock RSI is technically reset now below the overbought territory, which is good to see. And the RSI still has room to run to the upside. So Solana doesn't look bad, guys. Like, Solana is looking like it wants to run up again. So keep an eye on that. I believe a run is definitely in the cards for Solana. Next, the upcoming events as well, like I mentioned, the Jackson Hole meeting, August 21st through the 23rd. Keep that in mind. The Fed's going to have his outlook on the next month, and we're going to see if interest rates will get cut or not, or the likelihood they'll get cut. And then also we have the FOMC meeting on September 17th. So, which that's going to be a huge catalyst if the Fed does cut rates. With that said, let's go ahead and answer the rest of the questions. And again, guys, 54 viewers, 44 likes. If we can get those above 50 likes, that would be awesome. Really appreciate it. Let's see. Shigo Fatso says, how much will the group cost? Want to save up in the meantime? So if you can afford $60 a week, you can afford the group. So yeah, I would save up at least $60, try to get at least 1 week's worth in the group, and then you'll most likely make your money back from there. James, you got to restart Streamlabs. Yeah, Yeah, if you restart the stream, you'll show it again. Mirza says, would love to see more elaborate lessons on your trading strategy in the paid course, as well as some rare alpha, like which wallets to track, maybe. Yeah, Mirza, I'm going to share a lot of that stuff, right? I'm going to share a lot of that stuff, and I'm going to make the paid group very much worth it for you guys. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of good content in there. Multiple live streams, emergency meetings, multiple courses, multiple PDFs. Like, you guys are going to get your money's worth 100%. So stay tuned for that. Diamond Hand says sound is cutting off. Yep, I think we got that fixed. Team Story, I've only had some early 5x longs on main runners. Should I still look to buy some now? I cashed 50% of my trade sound at the top, but I'm not sure if I should re-enter. I mean, I'd probably wait for these indicators to reset a little more before re-entering, or you just could DCA a lower amount. Let's see. And there's some questions I actually didn't answer from the top here. So Niraj says, we're seeing a shift from BTC to ETH in terms of inflows. So we're expecting Bitcoin to hit new all-time highs, probably 150K. Will the inflows again shift to BTC from ETH? No, I don't think so. I think if Bitcoin goes to 150K, ETH is going to go to 6K. We're still going to see more flows from ETH because it's just the natural rotation of capital. Let's see. That boy Adrian says, any trades you are currently in still or all closed until further clarity? So I'm still in. Let me actually see what trades I'm in. Give me a second. I'm going to check on BloFin. Again, guys, if you aren't using BloFin, the best non-KYC leverage trading exchange, links in the description. You also get a USDT bonus for signing up under my link. Always much appreciated. All right, so let's see. So I'm in SUI right now. So I'm in a nice SUI trade, and then Solana and Ethereum still. So yeah, so I'm still in those trades at the moment. Let's see. Nikolai says, once Zeus moons and I make a lot of money, I'll be able to afford your premium group. Hey, there you go, Nikolai. Alexander, hello, sir. A bit late, but came. Hope everybody's well. Hey, hope you're doing well, Alexander. Good to have you here. PK, hey, could you take a look at the MKR and give your opinion? Maker. Yeah, I'll go ahead and chart Maker real quick. All right, so, ooh, let me see how the daily looks on this. May have to chart the weekly on Make. Yeah, Maker's a little bit of a interesting one. I'll do what I can here for the chart. Yeah, something like that. So, yeah, as you can see, there's some, it's falling through support right now, 179 or 1790. But the next level of support, I mean, I'd look at some type of bounce here around 1600. And then below that, let me draw some more lines. Yeah, I mean, you may see some here at 1460. So around 1500, I'll look to bid near Maker if it goes that low. You could technically bid some here since we have a range. I mean, if you want to say, like, technically, I mean, you know, it's just, but there's not as much clarity on Maker. So I just hesitate to put that there. But yeah, I mean, you can technically say it's near support. You want to DCA some here, and then DCA if it gets down to that 1580 level. But, I mean, the RSI is around 40, and then the stock RSI is almost oversold. So Maker's getting close to a buy. I mean, when you have the stock RSI almost oversold like this, right? It's just only a matter of time. So, yeah, you could DCA near 17 to 1780. That may not be a bad area. Dreamer, could you please add a PDF of how to make your market analysis from and to before you enter a trade? I could do that as well, actually. But I do have some good PDFs. Like, I'm working with a guy. The PDFs are going to look nice. James, Binance probably going over 1,000 this cycle. Oh, yeah, 100%. Nikolai, yeah, he says that total 3 minus USDT divided by BTC has to bottom for alt season to start. But it can still really to 0.55 giving a fake alt season. Yeah, Nikolai, talking about Benjamin Cohen. Exactly. Yeah, he's very good. So we'll have to wait until that lowers a little bit more for alt season to start. Sean, what's going on with the Jim Hunter's trading bot and down like 25% last 2-3 weeks? So the trading bot is really doesn't perform the best during chop. And so really you just have to have patience. Once we have an uptrend again, you start making a lot of money with it. Chico Fatso says, how much will the group cost? Want to save up in the meantime? Yep, just answered that earlier. As long as you have $60 a week, you'll be good to go. And there's even some deals for longer term, like even for a month. Sprockos, yo, Data, how can I see the volume only for spot and only for futures? So for that, Sprockos, you can even go on to CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap, and you can filter for exchange volume of spot or derivatives. Murray's, so large inflows of around 1 bill ETFs is one-day market local top, whereas 1 bill of ETF outflows is one-day market local bottom. Is this relevant for all assets or just BTC? Yeah, so BTC or Ethereum, 100%. Rudy, any thoughts on ETH? Good buys near 4,300 and 4,000. Hey, is that Leo? What's going on? GM. Good to see you on chain. Will, sound still dead for anyone? Refresh your YouTube if your sound ever gets dead again. Brian, good to see you. Claudio, sound is good. Just had to refresh. Nice. Rocco, did you ever place any shorts or just longs? I still place shorts, but in a bull market, I try to minimize the amount of shorts I place, and I just long at support. Mirza, do you currently hold mini tokens or are you mostly in stables until the RSI resets? I mean, yeah, just those ones I was talking about earlier, Sui, Solana, and Ethereum. Sala, yo, CD, can you look at Tau? I have a 20x long I held from 332 to 404, and I'm still holding. Thinking of safe entry to hold long term, but market looks ready for a real flush. Thoughts? Market could have another flush. Like I said, the indicators still need to reset a little bit. So it's not out of the question. For Tau, good entry, by the way. For Tau, it's at 374. Hold on. Let me just erase all of these lines, because Tau is an interesting one. Let's see. Okay, so for Tau, support would be near 360, and then 332 after that. So you want to see 360 hold. So yeah, so Sala, you want to see 360 hold for Tau, but here's the thing. See what I mean? The stock RSI is overbought and curving to the downside. So this is what I'm talking about. Now you have the RSI bouncing off the signal line, so conflicting signals here, but it may be a little more chop until the stock RSI gets a little bit lower before going to the upside. But the fact that it did bounce off of this 360 level just a few days ago is bullish, right? That's bullish, and that's why I saw the RSI bounce off the signal line. But at the end of the day, you still want to be cautious. So that's the only thing I would say for that. If 360 falls, I'd be a little worrisome. If it closes below 360 on the daily. Mr. Robinson, what are your thoughts on Bucky? Been seeing Donnie speak about it a lot. Also hearing about it in some places and some spaces, and it seems like a very organic meme, so I wanted to hear your thoughts. I'm very bullish on Bucky, Mr. Robinson. I think long-term it reaches 100 mil plus. Mirza, sound is good. Awesome. Rocco, yeah, I just need to refresh. Yeah, guys, so refreshing helps the stream a lot. Touch said, Roger, come in, CD, do copy. All right. Wagwan says, thanks, Data, for the explanation. Do you have any tokens on Abstract Chain? Abstract, the only one that I feel confident in. Gooner is a good one on Abstract. And maybe Newt or Abster. But yeah, Gooner is probably my most bullish one. Claudio, a lot of reputable people on X have been showing the similarities of the current PA to the topping action of 2021, insinuating we're going to that 108K region. How do you feel about that? Claudio, I think it's very possible. I think it's very possible we go to 108K. I think that would be an extremely healthy refresh. If we go there, I'd be buying a lot. James Hunt, do you think if Trump releases another huge round of tariffs, we could see a massive drop like in April? I don't necessarily think so. I think people are more or less numb to tariffs. They really just look at it as bullish catalyst for trade deals in the future. Yeah, Marco, maybe a little drop, but I don't think anything too crazy. Rocco, what do you do with your capital during bear years? Bear years, I look for obviously shorts, but also I look for other investments like real estate or other sources of income, right? Whether it could be for e-com, whether it be for creating something with AI. I mean, there's just various business ventures you could do, you know, besides crypto. But yeah, I would use that money elsewhere, even stocks. Like if stocks, I'll try to invest something, maybe in new IPOs. Yeah, there's just various other things you could do. M says, for TA, candle patterns, SX, relevs and indicators. For FA, CoinGlass, Binance, Farside, Watcher, Group, Remark to get the best returns on futures and spot. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Eric, ACD, wanted to ask a question about Grayscale S1. Isn't the Doge a meme coin still? How would they do an ETF for a meme coin? Or is it one of the largest coins? That's why they do it. Yeah, Eric. So meme coin or not, they look at the total market cap and the demand for it. So even though, yes, you're correct, it is a meme coin, it's still a large asset that people invest in. So yeah, it's just another way to diversify, right? Just like low cap or small cap is on a stock, meme coins are similar in terms of risk. Nuhu, ACD, what do you think about DCA and Zeus now? So I'm not in Zeus currently. If you want a DCA, you could. I know the team was pushing it hard at 2.7 mil up to 6.8, but it's just hard to catch on right now, right? Sala, why is ADA so strong right now? Think it'll hold up price targets this cycle? No price targets for ADA. The fact that it's holding up is good, especially in this market. But let's see. Yeah, ADA is a monster. I mean, it has been insane. But here's the thing, too. If you're in ADA, maybe take a little profits because the stock RSI and RSI are clipping out from being overbought. So I would just caution that. Now, if you're looking to enter a trade on ADA, I mean, heck, near 90 cents. DCA there and DCA around 84 cents. But yeah, ADA, this is very surprising. I mean, very surprising for ADA. It's one of those things where it just comes out of nowhere, right? So yeah, it's respected TA relatively well. So yeah, ADA, I mean, DCA 85 cents if it gets there, and then maybe 71 cents. Targets for ADA long term, $3. I feel comfortable saying probably 3. Claudio, in regards to what we'd like to see in the group, I personally would like to learn some different strategies, Wyckoff, order flow, etc. Now, that's a good suggestion, Claudio. Now, myself, I don't trade Wyckoff or order flow as much, but I may be able to hire some people that would be more apt in that field. So, good to know. How could I also be a professional as you are in terms of knowledge and speaking? Great question, and I appreciate the compliment. So, honestly, it's just repetition. Like, I had created my YouTube channel in 2017, and I've just been making videos ever since. And I've talked more on Twitter Spaces, but really, knowledge breeds confidence. And so, if any of you guys are feeling insecure about yourself, 1, make sure your health is in check and your diet's in check. 2, make sure you're working out, any kind of workout. And then 3, make sure you're getting enough sleep, 7 to 8 hours plus. You do that, you're already on a good start. And then from there, just have start learning more about the market, learning more about whatever you want to talk about. So if you want to be more confident with crypto, study, right? Look at those resources that I was talking about. Posted them earlier about looking at Watcher Guru, seeing what's happened day to day, looking at remarks on X, seeing what they're posting about for the macro news, seeing what I'm posting about, following me, looking at the prices, looking at technical analysis, support, and resistance tutorials to learn about TA, to talk intelligently about that on the daily, weekly time frames, learn about different indicators, RSI, stock RSI, right? So it's just knowledge, guys, and it's just studying, putting in the time and effort. Like anything good, nothing good comes easy. I'll say that, right? And so you got to put in the time, and then really it's all about repetition. And so just talk more. Record yourself talking in front of a camera. Talk in front of your friends. Talk on Twitter Spaces. Once you guys stop worrying about what other people think, then you'll feel much more confident and much more relief. Like, there'll be a ton of weight lifted off your shoulders once you stop caring about what people think. Because I'll guarantee you this, no one is thinking about you 24/7. Like, people have their own lives to worry about. And so once you realize that, you won't be that insecure when talking in front of people. Because at the end of the day, they're going to forget about you the next day or the next hour, right? It's not like they're thinking about you all day. And so once you realize that, once you study, once you gain more knowledge, once you practice more repetition, you're going to get more confident. And don't say That's a big thing as well, because makes you sound unconfident. If I say that's a good question, you automatically feel disconnected to me. I don't sound confident, and you're going to tune out. Whereas I say, that's a good question. Let me think. Right? Instead of saying I'm saying let me think. Then it's a pause. Then it's not, don't feel insecure about pauses either. I'd rather pause than say For example, if someone asked me about ADA, what do you think the price target is? I would say, maybe $2. Versus, what do you think the price target is? Maybe $2. Right? That pause versus saying makes a big difference, guys. Thanks for the question. Let's see. Pollo Loco, keep doing them voice notes. They're really helpful. But anyways, appreciate your value always. Hey, appreciate you, Pollo Loco. Dreamer, $60. Thank you very much. It's very nice of you. Hey, no problem, Dreamer. Sala, how much is the maximum BloFin bonus using your link? 20% up to $2,000. So if you use the link in the description for my BloFin referral link, the best non-KYC trading exchange, leverage trading exchange, which means you don't need to use your ID. You sign up for that and you deposit USDT into your futures account. You'll get a 20% bonus back that you can trade for futures. 20% for USDT, up to $2,000 for free. Up to $2,000 deposited, so you get $400 for free. Nikolai, what advice do you have for shoulder pain, shoulder impingement maybe? I would stretch, Nikolai, and I would rest as well. So if you're working out, but you find shoulder pain during push-ups, during chest press, bench press, shoulder press, then rest. Like, don't overexert yourself, okay? Anytime you have some injury or some impingement, rest, take hot showers, get a massage, stretch, and take some glucosamine chondroitin, which is joint pills. That'll help lubricate it. Vitamin D, fish oil, zinc for testosterone, vitamin C. But yeah, just rest is going to help the most. Massaging it, hot showers, stretching it, and just waiting until it's a little bit better. And then once it is feeling better, slowly ease into the workouts again. Don't hit it hard. Warm up before you work out. Always warm up, guys. Do a lightweight and then start to the heavyweight. New Who says, hey, CD, what do you think about DCing in Zeus now? No, I'm not in Zeus currently, so I couldn't speak on that. Nikolai, why do you think Ben Cohen says max for E should be 7,500? He also thinks we top this year. I mean, it's possible we top this year, right? I think 7,500, I mean, that was the target for standard charter as well. I think it's a good level. It's a good measured move, especially out of that monthly pennant breakout that I posted a couple weeks ago. So that's probably why. Aculite, ACD, hey, how you doing, Aculite? Good to see you. Guys, don't forget to link for the free alpha. Oh, yeah, like. Appreciate it. Yeah, definitely, guys, like the video if you liked it. Appreciate the stream. That boy Adrian, is your one-on-one package more than $60 a week? Would it be very interested in this option? Yeah, the one-on-one is going to be a lot of money per hour, basically. It's going to be like a one-on-one call, and it's just going to be me and you. We'll go over your portfolio, we'll help management, all that stuff. But it's 1 hour, and it's going to be 1 hour blocks, but it's going to be a large sum of money. So, because I don't have a lot of free time, so, but I still want to offer the service. So if you guys want to start a mentorship or anything like that, I can provide that service as well. There's going to be a lot of services, guys. Like, you guys are going to be impressed at the group. Sala, appreciate the Tau overview. Hey, no problem, Sala. Chris, what are your top most used indicators? Simple, RSI, stock RSI, and 50 and 200 EMAs. Mr. Robinson, sweet. Thank you, Data. Appreciate the insight. Hey, no problem, Mr. Robinson. Atwa says, what is your time zone? I'm in Central Standard Time, so it's 6 p.m. right now. Aculite, have you ever used Market Cipher indicator? I see some people using it. Yeah, Market Cipher is a good indicator. You can also use, I forgot what the indicator is called on TradingView, but I think it's Cipher B or something B, but it's a free one. Atwa says, what time do you sleep? It depends. Usually 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. James Hunt, Cardano's all-time high is around $3. I think if we get a bullish alt cycle, it probably goes higher. Yeah, it could very well. Mirza, when do you decide that it's time to exit a spot trade? How often do you get in and out of spot trades? If I'm in a spot trade and it's a long-term trade, then I won't look at it for 6 months. But as far as if I'm in one for like 2 or 3 months, then I just look at major resistance levels on the daily or weekly, and I get out then. Usually the weekly major resistance levels because it's the longer time frame. Mr. Robinson, also last thing I can think of for now, I know trading is like skinning a cat. There's a bunch of ways to do it. Is there a reason you haven't looked into Wyckoff or a trading strategy? Honestly, it's just a learning curve, right? And the time needed for it. So I could learn it, and it seems to be very profitable for a lot of people. I know a couple of people who are very good at it. And so usually I will defer to their judgment when I'm looking for a trade because I haven't been in it for a long time or I haven't studied it enough. I don't feel as confident using it. Obviously, it could be something that I could practice over time, but I'm so good at just standard SR lines and trend lines that I just stick with that. Raul, could you chart QNT, please, and share your thoughts? Yeah, I'm going to look at QNT real quick, and then we will get to ending the stream soon. Let's see. All right, so QNT. Let me look at, is there any clear lines here? All right, so Q and T, these are the main lines. Now, technically, you could say support is near $100, that psychological level. And then below that, major support would be around $85. That's where I would look at. 100 and then 85. Resistance. There's some resistance near 116 and then 133. Now, the stock RSI is almost reset, which is good to see. And then the RSI, though, it's below the signal line, but near around 45. So, yeah, Q&T is not really bullish or bearish here, but if you're going to bid, I'd bid near $100, between 100 and 105, and then resistance near 116, 133. All right. Arslan, it's been a while. I haven't seen your lives in a long time. Good to see you again. We'll join the Telegram. Hey, Arslan, good to see you. Yeah, I think you're one of my first subscribers. You were way back there in the day. Good to see you, as always. And awesome. Looking forward to you joining the Telegram. Junior says, hey, CD, it's late over here. Going to watch the stream later. Hey, Junior, no problem. Appreciate you coming in. Have a good night. Sprockos, add glutamine. Yeah, glutamine's good, too, for recovery. Have you ever looked at the 21 and 50 EMA, and especially when they cross? I haven't looked at them as much. The 50 EMA, yeah, or the 50 moving average, yeah, but I haven't looked at the 21 as much. I know they're very important MAs, though. Vu Manchu, Cypher A and B is the free version of Market Cypher. Thanks, Sala. Yeah, for anyone who wants to use Market Cypher, Vu Manchu, Cypher A and B is the free one. Sprockos, but the best thing for recovery is the Wolverine stack. From Nate Belmar, good stack. Mirza, so you basically get out of spot trades when you hit a weekly major resistance level and get back in at major support, I suppose? Yes, Mirza, I do. Mr. Robinson, fair enough. I know it's part of the ICT strategy. Appreciate your transparency. Hey, no problem, Mr. Robinson. With that said, guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate and love every one of you. And again, if you aren't following me on X at the CryptoData, definitely do so. I try to post the best content I can for free. Also, if you aren't in my free Telegram, in the description. If you haven't joined my BloFin link is in the description. The best non-KYC leverage trading exchange. Highly recommend everyone join it. You also get a free 20% back USDT bonus for depositing USDT in your futures account. I'll post more leverage trades in the future. I'll definitely have a lot more in the paid group. I'll have a lot more of everything in the paid group. And then also, if you haven't used the Sigma bot, the best multi-chain trading bot for Ethereum, Base, AVAX, and eventually Solana, definitely do so. It's in the description. Best Telegram bot for that. Fastest and most secure. So thank you guys so much. Subscribe if you haven't. Like the stream if you haven't. Appreciate all of you. Have a great weekend. Talk soon.